Well, you know it, the hot summer days are here. So with us today is Dr. Shane Hudnall with Cone Health Sports Medicine Center to review how to stay safe in the summer heat and what we all should know about heat-related illnesses. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get started. So heat stroke and heat exhaustion, what are they and how concerning are they?
So heat stroke is what we worry about the most, of course. I mean, that's when your body's thermostat basically is not able to control your temperature. Your temperature gets above about 104 degrees, and then you can start to get neurologic symptoms. The most common ones that we see are like loss of consciousness or confusing. And we've seen people die from that. So that's why it's important to recognize it and treat it if appropriate. Yeah.
What are the warning signs?
So some of the warning signs that you're getting mild heat illness, which can lead up to that, of course, are maybe some of the things many of us have had. So you get a little bit of a headache, maybe some muscle cramping, feel a little dizzy. Those are the things that you need to, listen to your body there. Go inside if you can, or get into a shaded area and take the proper precautions so you don't end up with heat stroke.
Are the warning signs different when it comes to children versus adults, or are they the same? Or
They're pretty much the same, but as you can imagine, most kids won't be as verbal about their symptoms. So you may notice them kind of slowing down, or the way that they'll describe that they might have the heat affecting them might be something like, I feel hot, or Mom, Dad, I don't feel right. Those are some things to take note of, and especially when it's 90, 100 degrees outside like it has been, to take them inside.
Okay, so that's kind of some of the things that they might say. Let's go getting into the next question. Is it something that they might do if they, say that they're maybe not feeling well, but they don't really communicate it maybe properly, looking out for their actions?
Especially the younger they are, of course. Now, some of them may say, like, my head hurts, or, my stomach hurts, maybe, something like that, or I feel like I'm going to pass out. But you may just notice that they're slowing down. Like, my kid's usually running around a bunch, and they're not quite doing that. And especially on days like this, you have to take notice of that.
Yeah. Any time limits for kids playing outside when they should come on inside?
As you can imagine, just the hotter it is and the more humid it is, the more breaks you should have them take and bring them indoors. But there's not like a set limit. You want to try to, especially between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., when it's the hottest, the sunniest usually, that's when you want to be a little bit more cognizant of that.
Okay. And if you or someone you are with becomes really overheated, what should the next steps be to get them some help?
Yeah, good question. So the first thing I'd say is, bring them indoors. Now, if you're out at a park or something and that's not something that you can do, get them like under a tree or under a pavilion, somewhere that's shaded. If you notice that they have some excessive clothing, like they're wearing a jacket for some reason, or pants, when they have shorts underneath, removing that excessive clothing so that their arms and legs can be exposed so they can, sweat some of that off. If you have access to ice, if ice is available, an ice pack, putting it, on their neck, on their chest, stomach, just anywhere to help cool them off. If they haven't gotten confused or lost consciousness, of course, having them drink cold fluids is very important. And just, if you notice that they're becoming more confused, maybe hallucinating, saying things that don't make sense, that's when you need to call 911. Do those other things that I mentioned, but then call 911 as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's a good advice there. Anything that you shouldn't do when you're noticing these things?
Well, don't push through it, I guess, especially if you're exercising in this heat. A lot of us are training for races or something. You've got a triathlon coming up. Let me just push through these next few miles. If you're noticing you're having heat illness, take that seriously, and make sure you just get indoors and postpone that training run if you need to.
All right, great stuff here. We're going to pause right here, and we'll be right back to continue our conversation about that heat. We'll be right back.